Yeah. Yeah.
Look at me.
Benchmark, they're speaking the facts that you wanna hear. That rapper jersey, the vision is clear. Diamonds glisten like a chandelier. You know what I'm here for, like Marshawn Lynch. At clutch time, we do not flinch. Real brothers, we do not switch. Hit home runs with the right pitch. Who run the city? What to do when they hating on you? I feel like Kobe 2010. I taking an L, all I need is a win. Business is business, you know how they go. You playing the seats, now it's time to grow. Tuning now, gotta be in the know. Showtime, bitch, my about to blow.
I ain't seen from now. Miles, he was really.
Benchmark Podcast. What's up, bro?
We are back for another episode of the Bench Mob ENT. We was going to talk about some college basketball, women's. We were going to talk about the men's side with basketball being back. You got football, all of this going on right now, but we had to put that on pause because OBJ is in LA and Cam is back home. We're going to talk about that for sure. I'm joined by two of my brothers out of the three on the Bench Mob ENT. We got CJ Moneybags. How you doing tonight?
Good, man. Excited to be back. You know, I was on a 2-week hiatus from y'all boys, but excited to be talking about this football junk that we got going on. Hey, I thought you was going to skip the intro. You got right into that OBJ stuff. I was getting worried for a second.
Well, now we got you just getting back from traveling around the world, so we had to make sure we do the intro. Yeah. These last 2 weeks, we've been telling y'all the reason why he's been gone is because he's CJ Moneybags.
Mm-hmm.
You see, we company men. We got to be here every day. We don't get days off. Greg, Mr. Hot Takes in the Mirror. How you doing tonight?
Good, man. I'm trying to get this money. I heard CJ has an escalator in his house, and I had to get right, so I had to change everything. I had to go get this money.
Y'all stupid.
Yesterday.
Greg, I'm pretty sure your bank account's bigger than mine, so I ain't even try to hear all that.
All right.
I'm lying?
Not after buying tickets to this Rockets game and going down to Houston.
In fact,
bro, I wanted to go with you, but them prices to Houston, the tickets to the game wasn't the problem.
They're not really. Yeah. The flight prices are crazy right now.
Prices looking crazy.
I spent a lot of money to go down there. I
Yeah.
spent a lot of money to go down there.
Greg spent a lot of money individually. Times that by two.
Yeah. You would have spent damn near a G on that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like
basically.
that.
Because it's around the house.
Turn the house.
Yeah, I mean, Greg ain't got no choice either, though.
Like I said, I'm trying to get my money up.
When white people say come,
there was a time.
you gotta come.
There was a time where I wouldn't be able to do this. On that old Aerotech payroll, I probably couldn't get down there. But right now,
he put the company name out there. He put it on blast for the first time. Okay. I know what type of time we on. Greg really said, I've been going for 3 months. I don't care no more.
It's over, bro. What are you talking about? I'm not going back. Indeed.
OBJ is in LA. Robert Griffin said, I think the best, Robert Griffin III, he said, OBJ in LA is like peanut butter and jelly. It's just meant to be. Perfect combination, big personality in LA with the lights. You have LeBron, Jalen Ramsey, even the Lakers tweeting them out like, welcome to LA, Lake Show. Will this work though? What's y'all initial takes on OBJ in LA? And Greg, shout out to you. You did predict it last episode. You said it was an LA connection for OBJ. It was Rams or Chargers. He was going to LA.
Greg, before you go real quick, who said this nonsense that you was just quoting?
RG3.
RG3 said that it's a perfect scenario for him.
Wait, did RG say that, or did I say that I was going to LA for sure?
No, not you saying that. Robert Griffin tweeted, OBJ in LA is like PB&J. It's a perfect fit.
I don't like that. And not just because he's talking about PB&J, but I really don't think this is going to be a good fit for OBJ. I don't. I think Matthew Stafford's a great quarterback that can get him the ball if he chooses. But like you see the connection that he already has with Cooper Kupp, and if you're OBJ, right? And the reason that you're leaving your current situation with the Cleveland Browns and the reason that you want out is because you're not getting the ball and you're not getting the touches that you feel like you deserve. And he definitely wasn't. We all saw it. He wasn't getting the ball when he was open and things like that. And his numbers over the past 3 seasons weren't what they should have been, as skilled and dominant as he is. But you're going to a situation where they already have playmakers at your position, right? And if you think Matthew Stafford is going to try to force feed you the ball so that you're comfortable when, his focus is on winning and we've seen how that's already been going with his chemistry with Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp got 13 targets last game against the Titans, right? Their other wide receiver, Robert Woods, he had like 10 targets. And so did, what's his name? The tight end, Higbee. Higbee had 10 targets or 10 catches, I believe, as well. So it's like, OBJ, yeah, you're coming into the fold, but like he's coming into a situation where he's not going to be the man. It's never going to be the same situation that he had when he was in New York. New York was different because he was the guy. He was getting the ball consistently from Eli. He came to the Cleveland Browns. We thought that was going to be the case. I personally thought he was a better wide receiver than Jarvis Landry. But again, when a quarterback and a wide receiver already have that chemistry, it's hard for you to get your touches regardless of how good you are. They're going to have to scheme plays for him and get him involved early, but you don't want to do that and have it take away from what you already have going. And I think that's going to be the challenge. Yeah, his personality fits LA. He already lives in LA, right? These boys with LeBron and things like that. He's going to fit right in with the team culture and all that. But in terms of getting the ball, I don't see them going out of their way to get him the ball. And I don't know how that's going to play out long term.
I'm on the same page, breaking it down exactly what you mentioned. So last week, before Greg goes, Robert Woods, 7 catches, 98 yards, 10 targets. Cooper Kupp, 11 catches, 95 yards, 13 targets. Higbee, 5 catches, 51 yards, 10 targets. And even Van Jefferson, 3 catches, 41 yards, 7 targets.
I said in the beginning of the season, Van Jefferson is like that. And now I'm not saying he's still very young. I think this is his 2nd or 3rd year in the league. He's not OBJ caliber, but again, he's been playing with Matthew Stafford all season. I'm sure they have a chemistry. And Higbee is not to be played with either at tight end. He's proven that he's an elite tight end in this league, and Matthew Stafford sure makes him look like one. So I don't see them getting away from that.
Yeah, I don't see where the targets are going to be at, and. Not saying they're on the same level, but Deshaun Jackson just left because he couldn't get targets himself. Not saying they're the same players, but he's essentially doing the same thing in regards to this team. OBJ is being brought there to be a deep threat. You're not getting 10, 12 targets.
Thank you.
It couldn't work with Deshaun. I don't know if it's going to work with OBJ. This is a super team and Super Bowl championship now. It's 2 super teams in LA now. Everybody's saying with the signing of Von Miller. But I don't know if the OBJ thing works. Greg.
I totally disagree with both of you. I think you both. I don't disagree with anything. I don't agree with anything y'all just said at all. But it's really 2 reasons, and they're very simple. I don't like. First of all, I think what you guys are saying is very logical. It's the logical thing to think. What it makes sense. That's cool. But I'm 2 things. Matt Stafford, and if you look at the history of his career, he has no problem targeting a very talented wide receiver. Calvin Johnson, they had guys on those teams. He threw the ball to Calvin Johnson. He threw the ball to him. Like he gets rapport.
Because Calvin Johnson was light years better.
He was like bigger. All the guys you're naming, Odell's still better than. Cooper Kupp having a great year. Cooper Kupp's a very good player. Very, very good player. Odell's better than him. He's more talented than him.
That was the same case. That was the same case on the Browns.
Yes, but they had an idiot quarterback, and they're not as functional as everybody think they are. Okay, so we can't compare the 2. You're going to a situation where you're going to be going with the best offensive play caller in all of football. Sean McVay is the best offensive play caller in all of football. Sean McVay, if he greenlights this move to get Odell Beckham, he's throwing the ball to Odell Beckham 8 to 10 times a game. Guarantee it. It's going out to him 8 to 10 times a game in different ways, whether it's jet sweeps, whether it's a quick bubble screen, whether he's throwing the ball. Odell's touching the ball 8-10 times a game, maybe at a minimum, honestly. And someone else is going to take the backseat. Someone else, Higbee, someone else, Robert Woods, someone else is going to get less touches in the game because Odell's there, because Odell still commands that kind of respect. The team still double team him. He still gets open. You saw all the montage of him getting wide open that his dad posted. And, he's still blowing guys away. He's still getting wide open against double coverage. You can't even double him on this team because of Cooper Kupp and because of Robert Woods. He's going to have one-on-ones. You don't think I'm throwing the ball? He's going to get open. He's going to fry teams up. This is a nightmare for the NFL. They're going to run as long as no one gets hurt. Football's a weird sport. They are a super team, but super teams aren't as effective in football because you can get hurt like that, and then you're not a super team anymore. That's just the nature of football. On any given Sunday, you can lose. But if this team stays healthy and intact and they get the rapport, they're going to be really talented. I can't wait to watch them next Monday against the 49ers.
So do you feel basically OBJ coming in as like Antonio Brown coming to Tampa Bay? Antonio Brown.
Not even that, because
in regards to the touches, because you see when Antonio Brown first came, if you remember the first 2-3 weeks, he was getting 8 to 10 targets. Mike Evans had to take a back seat. Chris Godwin was getting second most attempts, and then Gronkowski.
Mm-hmm. I think it's similar from a situation standpoint. It might be a little similar, but not even, because I think Odell's so much more talented than AB was when he made that move. Odell was 29. Odell's a baby. He's still got years left. He's had years where he's been injured. He's got a lot of miles left on those legs. He's still fast. He's still athletic. He still can make the one-hand grab. He's still that dude. This is Randy Moss to Tom Brady. This is that level of move. That's what we're talking about. This is him. Randy Moss had 400 yards in the Raiders. 400 yards in the Raiders. And then he got traded because the Raiders, and just like the Browns, the Raiders are a stupid organization. Dysfunctional. You take them out of there. You bring them to a place that knows how to utilize their talent, and just watch what happens. Odell might have 8 touchdowns over the course of the next 9 games, however many games there are left. He's gonna go crazy. This is not fair for the league. And the only reason why I think it's gonna work, I think you guys are right in what you guys are saying. There's a lot of guys who have to touch the ball. I get it. A lot of guys to share the wealth with, but Sean McVay is too smart not to give Odell the ball 10 to 12 times a game, 8 to 10 times a game. It's gonna happen. 8 to 12 times.
I'll agree with you on that point. I don't think Sean McVay is bringing Odell there to be a puppet.
No
right?
way.
You don't make that move just to, especially with someone with his big personality.
He's not another guy. Yeah, he's not. He has to.
I don't know about 10 touches.
Feature your offense around him. You have to feature your offense around him. You have no choice. You have to. He's just that gifted. The Giants gave him the ball every time you looked at him, gave him the ball. And yes, I know we didn't have Cooper Kupp. We didn't have Robert Woods. We didn't have Van Jefferson. I get it. We didn't have Higbee. Whatever. Yo, when you have a guy like that, you look at him first, everybody else second, third, fourth. All your progressions come after that. You look at him to give him the ball first. That guy will be open 9 times out of 10. He's still that good. That's a big move. It's not Antonio Brown to the Bucs. It's not. I know the analogy you're making because of the way the touches progressed and how you got more and guys had to take a back seat. It'll be like that. But the difference is when you give Odell the ball, on any given play, he's going to the crib.
I think it's gonna benefit Cooper Kupp the most, to be honest. It's gonna free him up so much because again, the year he's having this year, they're gonna double Odell or shadow Odell, and Cooper Kupp's gonna have one-on-one coverage, and you've seen him do that this year already.
If Stafford doesn't win a Super Bowl this year, all the Stafford stands are gonna have to go into a deep, dark cave and lock themselves in there because there's no excuse.
The defense too.
Yeah, there's no excuse in the Rams. The Rams can't not win a Super Bowl this year. The Rams can't not win one. And I think they're going to win. I think they're going to win. But they can't not win.
We're going to talk about Cam, but I don't even think Stafford got to go crazy this year.
No.
Like you just mentioned, the defenses adding Von Miller there either. We didn't get to talk about that on the show when it happened. Adding Von Miller to that mix with Jalen Ramsey and you got Aaron. That's
stupid.
Yo, they the favorites, hands down. You already know what the title of the episode.
Not just this year either. Next year too.
You already know the title of the episode this week. 2 super teams in LA now. You feel me? Cam is back home. Signs a 1-year deal worth up to $10 million, $4.5 million guaranteed with a $1.5 million roster bonus. Before we even talk about the football aspect of it, is this bigger for the organization in the state of North Carolina or bigger for Cam Newton?
Great question.
I saw a tweet today that said that Darnold was so bad that it forced the Panthers to stop being racist. And I think it's true. I think it's true. The Panthers got dude up out of there unceremoniously for no real backup plan. Who was the next quarterback they brought in after Cam?
PJ Walker.
Remember? Who was it?
PJ Walker, I think.
PJ Walker had gotten snaps they got Cam up out of there as fast as possible, and now they're bringing him back because
you're saying after Cam Newton left.
Yeah, I'm like after Cam left the first time around. Who was the quarterback they had there? I mean,
it was Bridgewater for a little bit.
Okay.
It was Teddy.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, look, it's a it's a good move for them. He should have never been out of the league in the first place. Imagine going to the streets and you find a quarterback of Cam Newton's caliber. You're not supposed to be able to do that. You're supposed to go to the streets and find someone like, I don't know, Matt Falk or something like some random dude, huh?
Blake
Mark
Bortles.
Sanchez. Supposed to find some dude, just some dude from the booth and take him out the booth and have him play for quarterback. The fact they got a guy like Cam coming in there, they can win some games. I mean, they have a chance. They're not out of the playoffs completely. I think they've got 3 wins. I think right now they're 3-6 is what it was.
Yeah,
4-5.
4-5. They're right there. They're right there. I mean, they haven't been playing well, but that's because that's been the quarterback play. It's over for Sam Darnold. It's over whether this works or not. Whether Cam comes in there and plays lights out or not, I don't see a world where Sam Darnold is the starting quarterback next year. I think they're going to be drafting one or looking to trade aggressively. They're going to be trying aggressively to trade for Deshaun. They're going to knock on that door again. So regardless, I just don't see a world where Sam's coming back. But it's a bigger deal. It's a bigger deal for Cam. Forget the state of North Carolina and forget Panthers fans. I don't know any Panthers fans. It's more about Cam. It's about Cam because he gets a chance to go play in a situation where he's comfortable. It's about Cam because he gets a chance to go prove himself one more time and play. And I think he was going to play good football for the past this year, but they had to go with McCorkle instead. So what happens? It is what it is.
I love a few things about it. Yeah,
I think it's a win-win. I think it's a win-win for the state and for Cam though, because Cam meant so much to that state and did so much and gave back to that state. So I think this is just as much as a win for the state of North Carolina. Like Stephen Gilmore even talked about it. Like in North Carolina, South Carolina area, Cam Newton is a god. Like that's
the hardest thing to do in sports is win over a fan base, and he's already done that back in 2015. Even though he lost the Super Bowl, right? He took them there. Such a hard thing to do, and like when you already have the respect of the fan base, you can go in there playing comfortable. He's not coming in there trying to prove everything. People already know what he's about, and that's what's going to allow him to thrive. He knows the organization. He's been there for years. He knows the system and things like that. They'll put him in a situation where he's comfortable in to make plays. I'm not sure how his body's looking right now. We haven't seen Cam, and
I'm sure he's fine. I'm
sure it's fine too. Cam's a hard worker. But in terms of how many hits they want him to take if he's going to be running the ball, that's still yet to be seen. But
they're going to treat Cam like a rental car from Hertz. They're going to run him into every goddamn thing.
Yeah,
they're going to run him into traffic. They're going to run him into. They're going to run him between tackles.
They're going to do it
because he's not the long-term plan. He's the short-term succession plan.
He's not
they will
the
be
franchise.
running him. Best believe.
Right, they're going to do what they need to do with Cam to win games, and the beauty of it for Cam is he's getting. I'm pretty sure he's getting more, not in guaranteed money, but the contracts are just as big as when he was with the Patriots. Right, he was still on a 1 year, $10 million. And if he plays well, he'll get that $10 million. But the cool thing about this situation, he has better receivers than when he was in New England. So like Cam, there's no excuses this year for him, really not to do well. Right. Hopefully he's in shape. Hopefully he has some familiarity with their system and their plays, but he has no COVID excuse to fall back on and things like that.
Immediately. He got vaxxed immediately.
Facts. Yeah, you got to be down in North Carolina, all them crazy people not vaccinated.
He needs a job. He got vaxxed immediately. Take notes, Kyrie. Because I got the whole Kyrie situation that might not unravel the best for him. They really may not. There's we're not talking about basketball, but I don't see if this season even for a second looks ugly, which it won't with Harden and KD. But if it looks for a second like Kyrie's not going to play the rest of the year, I would not be surprised at all if he gets traded. Would not. Right? Deals on the table. Bring McCollum down here. I'll be all right. Bring me somebody who can get a butt. They'll figure it out. But yeah, I mean, Cam went and got vaccinated right away. Smart decision. He's a smart dude. He's figuring it out, and he's gonna have success there. He's gonna play well. The O-line sucks, by the way. It's not like he's going to a great situation in terms of.
Well, that's where his legs come into play.
But he's gonna make guys miss. He's gonna throw guys to the ground. He's still in his physical prime, and he's got guys to throw the ball to. They can win more games with him than Sam Darnold. Moral of the story is Sam Darnold's done. But yeah, I'm joking about the. I'm not joking. I mean, no one cares about North Carolina or South Carolina football, but in the sense that he's a big deal to the states. Yeah, he is, and I get why he'd be bigger than life there. I mean, there's nothing else there besides LaMelo Ball, and he won't even be there the rest of his career. But
real quick before we move on, Tone, I was thinking earlier today when this all happened and he ended up, signing back with the Panthers. You think Cam walks up in there and gets his old locker back?
I think so.
Yeah, I would see
whoever has the old locker.
Dudes in the league still respect that guy. They still respect Cam.
No, they have no reason not to.
He's accomplished so much more than a lot of guys. Than 90% of the guys who play in the NFL. He's accomplished
former MVP, more. Right?
He won an MVP, and that year MVP? He was crazy. That year he was crazy good.
Speaking of his accolades and the respect you got to have for this man, Cam, which I'm sure he'll get it throughout the rest of the season, is 194 rushing yards away from becoming the first player in NFL history to reach the 30K 5K club for a single team.
With all the games he's missed. That's 30K
wild.
5K passing with one single team. The only player in NFL history to do so.
He'll get that.
Yeah, he'll make sure. They'll make sure he gets. Like I said, they're gonna use him up like a Hurts rental this year in these next 8 games. Just watch it. Just watch. They gotta get it. I hope he stays safe.
8 games into the season now, man. We halfway through the point. Basically, week 9 now. We got the Ravens playing right now, so we halfway through. We're gonna go through each division. We're gonna talk about our predictions for the rest of the year. Who we got winning these divisions, who's been the best offensive player, defensive player in each division. If anybody's on the hot seat in the division, that's how we're going to break it down. And since we just was talking about the Panthers, we're going to start off with the NFC South. Tampa 6-2, leading the division with the Saints at 5-3, Falcons 4-4, Panthers are 4-5. Who wins this division?
Tampa and Tom Brady's the best offensive player in the division. It's and defensively, if I had to, defensively is a little more of a tough conversation. I feel like Cam Jordan's been good. Cam Jordan's always really good defensively. I would probably say that, but the Tampa's gonna run away with it. I don't think anyone expects that not to happen. So I would say Tampa and Tom Brady and Cam Jordan would be that defensive player you would look at.
Yeah.
Who's been the biggest disappointment in this division?
I don't know.
I think people. Go ahead, Greg.
The Panthers are a disappointment to me. They started out hot. I didn't expect them to be good, but they started out hot. It looked like it could be sustainable, and it was all fool's gold. So I'll say the Panthers.
Yeah, I would say the Panthers as well. I think going into the season, people expected the Falcons to be what they are, right? An aging quarterback. You get Kyle Pitts in the draft, but you lose Julio Jones as well, which is a big loss, and Calvin Ridley, going out for the rest of the season or until he determines when to come back for his mental health is another big loss. So I think with the Panthers, Greg said it right. They got off to a hot start. You get a new quarterback down here in Sam Darnold, who we all thought was going to thrive after seeing him play the first few weeks. And then Christian McCaffrey goes out. That obviously affects him in terms of his go-to guy. And then it just looked in shambles from there.
Panthers and Falcons are fighting for a wild card position. Which of these teams get that final wild card position?
Hopefully neither, but hopefully neither one of them, honestly, and maybe neither one of them does. But that's a whole different conversation. But if I had to choose between the two of them, I'll take the Falcons because I think they have enough offensive firepower to be close to 500. And Cordero Patterson's been amazing for them, so I'll go with them. I'll go with the Falcons over the Panthers. Panthers have a lot of unknowns. That offensive line is bad. It's bad. It's real bad.
AFC South: Titans at 7-2, Colts at 4-5, Jags 2-6, Texans 1-8. Think it's safe to say we picking the Titans to win that division. In this division, though, is there any coach or GM you think is on the hot seat?
Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer. And just due to, I mean, yeah, they won 2 games, right? Did they win convincingly? No. Yeah, you bring in Trevor Lawrence. He's going to be a good quarterback in this league, but everything surrounding Urban Meyer and having a losing season behind that, right? Your off the field antics at the bar, you trying to earlier in the season, before the season even started, bring in a coach that had a history of being racist. It doesn't seem like his priorities are winning. It seems like it's just, being the guy, right? There's a difference between, being a part of the league and being successful in the league. And I think for him, he just wanted to show that, hey, he can be a part of this league. I don't think he has Super Bowl intentions. And if you're a coach in the NFL, I think that needs to be your mindset, is at some point we need to win a Super Bowl within a 3 to 5 year time frame. Because if you're not in that mindset, like, what are you doing here? Are you just here to be here? And when you look at Urban Meyer since he's got there, and the moves that he's made and the decisions that he's made, right? Trying to move Travis Etienne to be a wide receiver. And on top of the other stuff that we just mentioned, I don't think his main priorities are, building a championship team at some point.
Now with the Titans, right? Titans, they don't have King Henry. There's Ryan Tannehill and Adrian Peterson. Do they have enough to make any noise in the playoffs, or are we looking at another early exit for Tennessee?
With that D line, they could beat just about anybody on any given Sunday. They could beat anybody on with that defensive line. So, no, they have enough. They have enough.
They just smashed the Rams last week.
Yeah, exactly. Derrick Henry made the offense special, and that's cool. But they got wide receivers. They got 2 guys, and if Julio's healthy at the right time, they can go. And that defensive line is crazy. It really is. And they do a good job working in tandem with the cornerbacks. They're good. They're good. I think they have a legit chance in the playoffs to beat anybody. And Ryan Tannehill can win you playoff games. Like that's where we're at right now. That's where we're at right now. So I love the quarterback conversation. I love when everybody, talks about who needs a quarterback, who doesn't need a quarterback. Honestly, the quarterback situation is never as bad as you think it is, because if you have the right things going on your team, a guy like Ryan Tannehill, who's just about average, can win you a Super Bowl. You can win one with him.
Bro, we talked about this all the time, right? We've talked about this on past episodes. You don't need the quarterback to be a Patrick Mahomes. You don't need that guy to be a star. You don't need him to carry your team. Back when the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, who was the best player on that offense? It was Patrick Mahomes, right? Ryan Tannehill doesn't need to be that guy because they're that good everywhere else. He just needs to be consistent.
Yeah, the only team that needs a superhero, superhuman quarterback is my guy. Are the Ravens, and they have it. He is that dude. But yeah, I agree 100%. As far as Urban Meyer getting fired, I don't think he'll get fired this year. I think he deserves to get fired. I agree with you.
I didn't say he'll get fired. I said he's on the hot seat. I don't know.
I don't even know he's on the hot seat. White dude. I don't think he's in a hot seat. I think he'll be okay. He's gotten by. And honestly, I don't think you're doing your rookie quarterback any favors firing the head coach a year into his career. Take it from me. You don't do any favors doing that. You want to keep him in the same offensive system. If you want to get a new offensive coordinator, cool. Don't change too much around rookie quarterbacks. It's just weird. It gets weird for them. So I doubt they'll do that. And they're competitive. They play hard. They do play hard for him. I mean, every time I've seen them, and last week they beat the brakes off dude, Josh Allen. Right, the greatest quarterback ever, right? The guy who can carry hay 10 miles. But I don't know, like they beat him up. They beat him pretty good. So I wouldn't move off him just yet. I think he deserves to lose his job, but I don't think he will. I don't think you're going to see a lot of coaches getting fired this year. Not a ton.
NFC North: Packers 7-2, Vikings 3-5, Bears 3-6, Lions 0-8. Sure, we're all picking the Packers to win. We all foresaw Vikings, Bears, Lions being just like what they are. So the biggest question with this division, how much can we pick and rely on Green Bay to being the favorites or being Super Bowl contenders with Aaron Rodgers possibly missing more games at any point because of his vaccination situation?
I think he'll take it a bit more seriously. I don't think he's going to miss any more games. I think he'll plexiglass himself up like Kirk Cousins. You know, these anti-vax dudes will go to crazy lengths to not take the vaccine. And I know he was just out here BSing it, and he got fined a lousy $14K. The NFL really
when CD Lamb got fined $20K for a jersey untucked, that just shows you how racist.
The NFL's a stupid league. It's a stupid league. Honestly, if the product wasn't good, man, it would be so easy to get away from from supporting this sport. They're stupid. You find somebody more for a uniform violation than you do. Then you find someone for violating COVID protocols that could risk lives, that could risk game checks, that could risk, it's just everything. It could blow up the entire organization for a year. Everything they've worked for to this point, they could have blown it up. And you find someone more for a jersey mishap. It's ridiculous. And the jersey rules are dumb. The uniformity rules are stupid. It's just these owners getting a little power trip. Same thing with the taunting rules. Just want to get a little power trip off. You want to flex your muscles. That's all this is about. But no, I mean, it's a fair question. He could miss a game at any time. It's true. I think he's going to stop taking the advice of his shaman, Joe Rogan, and he's going to actually take it a little more seriously and they'll be okay. But they're not beating the Rams. They're not beating the Rams. They could beat the Cardinals. Yes, they've already done it. And Rodgers is a genius. And Rodgers could beat the Rams too. He's just that good. I just don't think he will. I think the deck is too stacked against him. So, I think they'll be okay. I think they'll get by with the situation. I think, you've seen there's other examples of guys getting by not being vaccinated, and I think it'll be okay.
Tell you what, though, they shouldn't have beat the Cardinals. They shouldn't have beat the Cardinals.
What, that game was a fluke?
They did, but Cardinals were in a position to score, and AJ Green didn't turn around for the ball, which is why it was an interception. Like, if the Cardinals score there or get a field goal, there's not enough time for them to come back and get two scores.
That's true. And if they meet in the playoffs again, it could easily go the other way. That game's a coin flip.
Yeah.
But I tend to bet on Aaron Rodgers because he's just that good at football.
Before we go to the next division, right? Before we go to the next division, Chris, have we seen enough from Justin Fields that we think he is actually the future for the Bears? Like, he's the answer for them.
For sure. You watched the game the other night? We watched the same game. He started off slow in the first half. Him and his receivers were not on the same page, but in the second half, they made adjustments, and he came out and he made some really tough throws. And we saw his running ability in the first half. And the thing that I was most impressed about him watching that game is just his time to process and make a decision. He felt the pressure. He got out of there. He didn't try to stand in the pocket, force a bad throw, wait for somebody to get open. He knew what he had to do, and he got out of there and went and got the first down more often than not. And you saw how difficult it was for the opposing team to try to stop him once he gets moving, because that dude is quick. He's strong. He did get rocked on the sideline when he tried to lower his shoulder, but at the same time, like, and this may be, kudos to the coaching staff. They put him in a position where it looked like he could win games for them. If all things, their defense didn't hold up, right? But he led them to the lead against Pittsburgh late in the game, and Pittsburgh just drove down and scored. Like, he did everything he had to do to put them in a position to win. And I think that just shows his growth from, a few weeks ago when he threw 3 interceptions because he was standing in the pocket too long, trying to make something happen rather than using his God-given ability, tuck that ball and run. And we clearly saw it. It was night and day from, a few weeks ago to what it is now. And it shows that he's learning, right? No one expected him to come in and lead this team to the playoffs, but all we wanted to see is him progress. And it seems like week after week, he's getting more comfortable and he's progressing. But I will say, if you watched that first half, you clearly saw how frustrated he was when he was getting sacked. Things just weren't going his way. the timing was off with him and his receivers. He was overthrowing people. But whatever they said at halftime, whatever they communicated and made adjustments, he came in and looked like a different player in that second half. So I think he's learning, and I think he's going to be just fine.
AFC North. You got Ravens 6-2, Steelers 5-3, Browns 5-4, Bengals 5-4. A tight division, literally a game and a half separating all of the teams in this division. Who wins this division? I know, Greg, you're probably going to go with Superman, Lamar Jackson, but who comes out to win this division, and who's actually going to be in second place? Whoever gets second place in the division is going to be the wild card team.
Baltimore wins the division. Steelers second place. That's what I think.
I disagree. I think Baltimore wins the division. Hands down. Their offense with Lamar Jackson, they're just really good. And Rashad Bateman, I've been super, super impressed with him and how quickly he's came along. And Hollywood Brown has been doing his thing as well. So I think, they'll be fine. Their defense is strong. They'll be good. The Steelers, pull up the Steelers schedule real quick. Because after this week, after this game that they have coming up, they play some tough teams. They have the potential to lose 4 or 5 in a row. They play the Chargers at some point. They play the Chiefs.
I didn't think it'd beat all those teams, and the Chiefs don't scare. Don't scare me. And the reason why is because the run game's getting going at the right time. Najee Harris is getting it going at the right time. They're actually blocking holes for him. What did I mean about the Steelers? No one was blown away by Ben Roethlisberger, but you give him time back there to throw and read defenses. And as long as he's been in the NFL, he'll be serviceable. It's not going to be about him. It's going to be about can they open up holes for Najee Harris? Can they control the clock? And with that defense, you're controlling the clock and running the ball well on offense too. I think they'll be just fine. I think they'll beat teams like the Chiefs who have weaknesses with that defense, and they're playing back. And the scripted deal that the gig is up with the Chiefs. They're gonna have to be more patient on offense and take what the defense gives them, which they have not proven they can do yet. Patrick Mahomes has bad mechanics at times. They put up 13 points against the Packers last week. I'm supposed to feel better about them, and the Giants should have beat them, but the Giants beat themselves. So honestly, I'm not sold on them. The Chargers are still a young team, and as good as Herbert is, he's very good. They can be had. Will they win that game? They don't necessarily have to win that division. I think the Browns are going to have slip-ups, but I think that more importantly, I think the reason why the Steelers are going to win is because they have the best defense in that division, and they have the running game getting going at the right time to control the clock, and those two things get you wins.
All I'm saying is the Steelers have to play the Chiefs again, or they have to play the Chiefs first. They have to play the Chargers at some point. They have to play the Bengals again. And I know you're saying that's a toss-up. It's very rare that teams, sweep a team that they play twice. But at the same time, they're coming to Paul Brown Stadium. They're coming to Cincinnati. We already went and beat them once. We could easily do it again. I'm not saying easy. That's a bad use of words.
Chris, we're talking real spicy. We're talking real spicy for a dude that lost to the Jets. We're talking spicy for a dude that lost to the Jets. You're talking real spicy for a dude that lost to the Jets. I don't know.
I got my gangrene on.
Chris talking.
Nah, that's facts.
Last week, did y'all win too?
Nah, we lost last week. But that's what I'm saying. They do play the Browns. They play the Browns and they play the Bengals. Those aren't handout games. They could easily lose those 2 games, and they could lose against the Chargers. They don't have an easy road, is all I'm trying to say. So I wouldn't slot them in second. But again, if you look at some of these schedules, none of the teams in the AFC North have an easy road, the next second half of the season. And that's where it really hurts that, the Bengals lost, 2 games that they should have won against the Bears and the Jets.
I think they're coming together at the right time.
You got Lions. After the Lions, they're at Chargers, at the Bengals, home against the Ravens, at the Vikings.
I see they play the Ravens too.
Home against the Titans.
Oh.
At the Chiefs. Then they play the Browns at home, and they finish off the year in Baltimore.
They losing at least 4 more games, Greg. At least.
The way they run, look, Mike Tomlin led team, and the way the Steelers are one of the most competent franchises in sport. What I say about the Bengals before the year started? What I say? I said, they got talent. Fine. As we went through the season, I said they got talent. They're winning, but they're the Bengals. See, that's different. What the Steelers are doing is they're Steelers. They're a very functional franchise. They know what the heck they're doing. They're getting it going at the right time. I'm telling you, man, they're going to get in. Tomlin doesn't miss the playoffs. Tomlin doesn't really miss the playoffs like that. That's not a thing that Mike Tomlin does. They got the running game going. They got Najee Harris. That was what they were missing last year. I think, and I'm not just saying. I'm really being honest. I think they're going to get in, and there's something to say about team cultures, and the Steelers have a winning culture. They know what it takes to win, and they do whatever it takes to win. They just do. They're a good team. They're a good culture. They're gonna finish the year strong. I'm telling you, they'll be on the other side of this, being all right. We won most of our games. That's
Ariana got you all the way messed up.
No, bro. This is serious.
Ariana got you all the way messed up. It's good. It's good, bro.
Yo, I'm so serious. I'm so serious. Teams like the Steelers, teams like the Patriots. Look at the Patriots. They're doing what the Patriots have done. It doesn't matter. They have great bro,
I don't know if I can take your word because you're the same guy that told me the Giants were gonna go 10-7.
The Giants should be 10-7. There's no reason why the Giants should be. The Giants have beaten themselves most of the games they played. The Giants should have 5 wins right now, not 3, but they don't because they've beaten themselves. And there's something, and the Giants have become a franchise where, to my point, become one recently that you can't trust. You know who I can trust? I can trust Mike Tomlin. You know who I can trust? I can trust the offensive line of the Pittsburgh Steelers. I can trust these things. I can trust the coaches on that coaching staff to get stuff right. That they just have equity. They have equity that certain teams don't have. The Browns don't deserve that equity. They always come on. You just lost one of the most talented receivers of our generation because your quarterback, your 5'3" quarterback, couldn't give him the ball. It don't make no sense.
Listen, I'll tell you this much: 3 teams from the AFC North are getting in. If you want to have the Steelers, that's fine.
This is what all this is about the Bengals getting in. This is all this is about. He's just trying to position this in a ways where the Bengals find their ways to stumble into the playoffs.
We'll get in. We'll get in. We're on a bye week this week. We'll be fine.
Good luck. You are used to heartache. Chris. Listen, okay, prepare yourself for whatever.
Get your popcorn ready when the Giants are watching us at home. Let's go, Antonio.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants finish with a better record the second half of the year than you guys do. Wouldn't be surprised.
You crazy, and that's I would not be surprised to say. The Bengals haven't lost any back-to-back games this season. We have 4 losses, and y'all acting like we have 8 losses by now. Come on, don't treat us like we the Lions, bro.
Save this clip. I would not be surprised if the Giants have a better record in the second half of the year. Whether the Giants make it to the playoffs or not, I would not be surprised at all if they have a better record at the end of the year than the Bengals do. Like better record at the second half, not overall. Just as better record in the second half. That's
because you're in a sorry-ass division. You're in the weakest division in the NFL.
What does that mean? If we're so sorry,
you're playing weak-ass teams.
If we're so sorry, the Bengals will be better than us. So in the second half of the year, let's see. Because I think the Giants are gonna finish pretty strong. The defense is playing about the way I thought they'd play to start the year. That's Joe Judge, for some reason, this team under Joe Judge seems to play better in the second half of years than in the first half of years. It's just very.
Let's talk about him being on the hot seat.
Perfect transition. NFC East: Cowboys 6-2, Eagles 3-6, Giants 3-6, Washington Football Team 2-6. Before we even talk about Judge being on the hot seat, or Washington, or Eagles, are the Cowboys a legitimate team as an NFC contender? Now, we already said we got the Rams winning the Super Bowl, but are we going to see them actually maybe win more than one game in the playoffs, or just win a game in the playoffs this year?
They might win a game. Honest to God, they're talented. They're great. They are Super Bowl level contender team in terms of talent, but they're the Cowboys. It's the same argument I just made about the Bengals, about the Steelers. Steelers deserve that credibility. They have a championship culture. They cultivated over the years. I can trust them. You cannot trust the Cowboys. Tone knows this no better. Tone was on that drug. For the longest time. No one knows better than him. You cannot trust the Cowboys. And I don't think they're going to win. I think they'll win a game in the playoffs, maybe, if they don't mess this thing up. They're going to find a way to mess it up at some point. And they're not going to Super Bowl.
But what's a successful season for the Cowboys?
Win a playoff game without tripping over yourself at the finish line. How about you run the marathon and don't trip over yourself? That's what the Cowboys do. They've literally tripped over themselves. Tony Romo literally tripped over himself once. Like, that's what they do. So how about you do that? That's a success. But seriously, win a game in the playoffs. They're going to get to the playoffs. They're going to win the division. They're the best team in the division by far. They're the best team. Fine. Win a game. That's their barometer. Because they sure as heck not beating the Rams. They sure as heck not beating Aaron Rodgers. And they sure as heck not beating Kyler Murray. Just not happening. Just not doing it. I'm sorry. Trayvon Diggs going to give him some touchdowns. He's going to give him some touchdowns. He's all or nothing. Okay? That's what it is. So that's just the way it's going to go. I mean, if people say I'm hating on the Cowboys all they want, yo, if y'all really do some self-reflection, y'all go and stand and look in the mirror, y'all going to realize this is what the Cowboys are. This is what they do. This is not me making stuff up. This is the reality of this franchise. Like I'm telling our good friend Chris here will come to the realization. This is what your franchise does. They pump you up and the balloon pops. That's what happens. I'm telling you.
The balloon ain't popped yet, bro. The balloon ain't. You're saying losing a little air. It's losing a little air. We on a pit stop right now. We putting air back in the tires.
No, some kid found the balloon and stepped on that jump. We lost to the Jets. That's what happened.
It's halfway through the season and we still over 500.
Who's on the hot division?
I don't think Judge is going anywhere, so I can't say that. He should. Like I said, you don't want to change coaching staffs around a young quarterback too much. I don't want to fire him. I want to fire Jason Garrett. And I don't know that's gonna happen. I pray to the good Lord it does. I hope Jason Garrett and Dave Gettleman are gone, but I don't think Judge is gonna get fired. I don't. And I don't love every decision he makes, but they play hard for him. The defense is grinding into shape underneath him. I think they have a chance of going a little bit of a run the second half of the year. So I think he'll make a case to stay. But Gettleman's gone. If you want to talk about who's in the hot seat, Dave Gettleman's in the hottest seat of anybody. Seriously, it stays with the Giants. Dave Gettleman will be gone by the end of the year. Period. And Jason Garrett, there's a good chance he's not here anymore either.
Y'all think Nick Sirianni's safe?
Yeah, I think you give it another.
It's year one.
You can't fire him after a year. It's just hard to do that.
That's kind of uncommon.
It's just not. It doesn't happen in the NFL. You got to get, and especially if you're going to keep Jalen Hurts. If you're not drafting a quarterback, which we don't know if that's going to happen or not, but you don't want to pull the legs out from Jalen Hurts this early. Doesn't make any sense. I think he's safe too, and Ron Rivera is safe because he's made of gold.
AFC East: Bills 5-3, Pats 5-4, Jets 2-6, Dolphins 2-7. Who do we think wins this division? You got the Bills, who was everybody's pick at the beginning of the year. Bill Belichick is doing Bill Belichick type of things. They're only a game behind the Bills. Who do y'all think wins this division?
I think it's still the Bills. I mean, yeah, they lost last week to the Jaguars, but like Greg said, like everybody says, any given Sunday, someone can get got, right? Like it just matters the situation. If COVID protocols, you got players out and stuff like that, and the Bills weren't really down players and things like that. They just didn't come to play and play their best, but like they'll be fine. They'll make adjustments. They'll be prepared going. Like we've seen them smack teams this year consistently up until their game the other day against the Jaguars. But I think the Bills are still favored to win this division. But the Pats are hot right now, on a 4-game win streak. But again, like young rookie quarterback, is he gonna lead them to win the division and into the playoffs? Who knows? But I think at some point, their run is going to slow down a little bit.
I can see the Pats winning this division.
You think they continue their win streak?
I don't think it's a fluke. They got the greatest coach ever. I don't think it's a fluke, and they got something sustainable. They got a great run game, great offensive line. The weapons are coming together nicely, right? I mean, they're not the greatest, but they make it work. They have a nice little system in place right there. I mean, the Bills are by far the best team in the division. The Bills should win it. But I think that defense could give him problems, could give Josh Allen problems. If anyone can make that guy look bad, it's Bill Belichick. For real. So I don't think I'm 60 to 65% sure the Bills win the division. That's where I'm at. And that's probably not the norm. I'm sure everyone else thinks 99% the Bills are going to win. But I think the Pats could easily catch up and make some noise second half of the year.
NFC West: Cards 8-1, Rams 7-2, Seahawks 3-5, 49ers 3-5. We obviously believe the Rams are going to win the Super Bowl. So that's not the question for this division. Russ is back. Do we see the Seahawks making a run with Russell Wilson being back? And are we seeing the last days for Russell Wilson in Seattle possibly this season?
What's their schedule looking like?
I will pull that up for you right now.
I think you're seeing the last days. It's the last days of him there. I don't know if they're going to salvage this. If they had gotten my guy Odell, then maybe this would be a different conversation. But they didn't get him, so good luck. I think they're going to win more games, but they'll be a 500 team maybe at best. What are they now? 3-5?
Right now, the Seahawks are 3-5 with their next game being at the Packers, home against the Cardinals,
Good luck.
at Washington, home against the 49ers, at the Texans, at the Rams, home against the Bears, Lions, and they finish the season in Arizona.
I think they're going to be a 500 team. I think they're going to be a 500 football team. And that's not enough for Russ to want to stay. I know Sierra's been having an itch to go to New York or LA, and I think that they'll find their way to one of those destinations. And I know if Russ is on the market, I will be buying. The Giants will be in the market. Don't think for a second. So yeah, I think he could be out there for real. So I think this is the last few days of him being there. But I think they'll be 500. They'll win some games they're not supposed to win. They'll lose some games they're not supposed to lose. That's the way this is going to shake out. They weren't that good before this. They were okay.
Their defense
there was no
still
juice
was an
there.
issue,
There's no juice there. The juice is out. It's just not there. So, yeah, I see them being a 500 team and him eventually moving on.
We talk about the last division, AFC West. Chargers 5-3, Raiders 5-3, Chiefs 5-4, Broncos 5-4. Do we see this division being a division that may be the best division of football, or is it just actually parity this season with the AFC West?
The only reason why there's parity in that division is because the league caught up to the Chiefs. If you think about it, if that had not happened, if teams did not start playing too high safeties against the Chiefs and sitting back and making Mahomes be more patient, they'd be undefeated right now. They'd have 2 losses. I mean, that's what we'd be looking at. And Tyreek Hill would have 300 yards in a game like he normally does. But teams are playing they're playing really far back. They're almost playing prevent defense to keep those guys from getting over the top. So, hey, look, they caught up, and now you have parity in that division, even though historically you never do because the Chiefs have been that good. But like I said, there's the consequence, the domino effect of teams catching up to the Chiefs is that everybody else is closer. Everybody else has a chance in that division. So, it's parity. It's parity. I think because the book is out on the Chiefs. The Chiefs are going to figure out other ways to win games than just throwing the deep shots all day. It's going to have to be, you have to win other ways. So
who will win? Who you got winning the division?
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. We beat up on them Raiders last weekend too, real good. So I don't know who to pick in this division. I think I think the Chiefs still deserve the benefit of the doubt in that division. They're the most talented team. They should win the division. I would agree. So they should. I don't have a lot of faith in them though. I really don't. I just the way Patrick Mahomes is playing right now, he's not patient at all. And you watching the football. I'm not no quarterback guru, but he's not even like stepping in the way he's throwing the ball. He's just doing all types of weird stuff out there. There's no real patience. So I don't know. I'm iffy on them. I think it's between the Raiders and the Chiefs. I think those are 2 ways this thing can go.
So we got Kappa Facts next. Transitioning to Kappa Facts. Packers and Aaron Rodgers got off easy because the NFL is aware of multiple other teams and players going through the same situation. Kappa Facts.
I say that's cap. I say Aaron Rodgers got off easy because I think he's just well liked by the league for everything that he's done in the league. And as Greg always alludes to, like, being a white male in this league brings privilege, right? And we just talked about it with CeeDee Lamb and what he's going through with an untucked jersey. I mean, we think the Packers got off easy with a $300,000 fine. You think that's getting off easy?
Yes.
As opposed to what?
Yes, they got off easy.
As opposed to what though? Like losing draft picks?
They should have lost draft picks, and Aaron Rodgers should have been suspended. And they should have lost draft picks. Aaron Rodgers should have been suspended, and they should have gotten fined.
I'm talking about the Packers though. That's what I'm talking about. The Packers.
The Packers. Aaron Rodgers being suspended directly affects the Packers.
That's
it's
true.
A direct effect. That's punishment for the organization. It's their pride and joy. You gotta punish them. They were complicit in a lie. It was a lie, and they were not following the COVID protocols, which we all knew, and they lied about it. They lied. They came out after Aaron Rodgers had to sit down with Pat McAfee the first time and said, "No, we've been following protocol. We've been following it in the building." They put out all these reports in the media. And it's all BS. It's all BS. They got off so easy. But like I said, man, and I say it every time, they're going to get off easy when they're white. And that's the reality of it. It's BS. It's real BS. I would have loved to have seen if this had been a black quarterback. I'd have loved to have seen the difference in how this all would have went. But we getting vaxxed out here. Dudes is getting vaxxed, so it's different. But what were you about to say, Tone?
I was just gonna say, like, $300,000 to $1 billion organization. That's crazy off. That's crazy off easy. So
they pay a dude on the practice squad some that much money weekly sometimes. Like, what are we talking about? That's nothing. That's nothing.
I think
they got off easy.
Call me conspiracy, Tone, but I think this is not the only team, the only player in the league that has a vaccination issue or lied about being vaccinated. I think the NFL is very aware of multiple teams, and this is why part of the reason they did go easy, because like we can't go hard on the Packers when we don't know, but I know Aaron Rodgers ain't the only one lying about being vaccinated, and I'm sure the NFL is very aware of it. And the NFL is the king of let's save face and let's seem like we're upset about something that we really don't give a darn about. So I don't believe Aaron Rodgers and the Packers are the only team, because if that was the case, I think especially in NFC, I think you would see teams like the Cowboys and others like, they would be petitioning to have Aaron Rodgers.
You don't think these teams want Aaron Rodgers out of the picture? The reason why they're not putting heat on the Packers because they don't want heat on themselves. They don't want the NFL to come down on them. Come on, man. The whole thing is corrupt. The whole thing is corrupt.
That's exactly my thought process. Like when you doing your little dirt and your sin, you often don't go pointing your finger elsewhere, because if it come back around, your cover's gonna get, shoot, the whole Cowboys team isn't vaccinated. Jerry Jones quiet on that one. Yeah. I think it's other teams that's going down the same path.
Dallas, please.
Packers just got caught. That's the only difference. The Packers just got caught. And they stand together. The owners is like,
we'll give them a break.
We'll let it rock. We'll be fine with it. Neil O'Shea and Robert Sarver will be fired before the regular season ends. Cap or facts?
They're gonna have to force him out. They're gonna have. I'm really interested to see why CP3 is so quiet on this and these other guys. CP3 was loud about stuff. They were all loud about Donald Sterling, and it's not like it's one of those situations where it's like, I need proof. Do you really need proof? Like, what more proof do you need? You've got guys who have been in the league, like Earl Watson. You got guys speaking out about this, the racist situation, the racism in the culture, the misogyny in the culture they've had there for years and years and years. Come on, man. We got Sarver getting quoted saying the N-word. We got employees in the building saying that his wife is sending out texts for him, threatening their jobs, threatening their livelihoods to make them shut up. We know it's true already. We know. I know it's never easy to force a billionaire out of anything, because billionaires, this world is nice to get to white billionaires. That's just the way it works. But at the end of the day, you have to force this guy out of there. You have no choice. Your team loses equity. You're in a sport that's dominated by Black people. You're in a sport that's dominated, not thoroughly, by Black people. It's not even close. The NBA is dominated by Black people. You can't have them going to a team where they know that owner is racist and he's heavily involved. He's going into the locker room. He's talking to the players. He's talking to the coaches. It'd be one thing if this guy was behind the scenes and just kind of own the team, but he would just kind of fly on his private jet and watch from a box. That's not what's happening. So you have no choice. It would ruin the equity in the franchise. The value of the franchise would drop dramatically. Having a racist owner, it matters. It really does matter, especially in a sport, again, that's dominated not just by Black athletes, but dominated by Black viewership. Black people watch basketball. We love basketball. All right. Like, I love basketball more than football. I'm sorry. I know it's not a popular thing, but I enjoy basketball so much more. So it's just, and I'm speaking for myself, but I know I'm speaking for other people too. So you can't have that, and they're gonna have to let him go. And it's not a tough decision. I just know it's not. I just know it's hard because Adam Silver works for Sarver. He's firing his boss, but the other owners are gonna have to get on board because it really does mess up the product. So and we need more Black owners in sports. Been saying it forever. Just need more Black owners. This is part of the reason why we're not in this mess if we have Black owners. But hey, I guess that's a different fight for a different day.
I think also Neil O'Shea, he can't have his job either by the end of the year, what's going on in Portland and not having a good workplace environment.
Yeah, I heard about that too. Yeah.
And the action coming up with him, and there's reports coming out. You gotta pay attention to things like this. The dude, they said, worked side by side in the same organization with Donald Sterling, who got fired and got kicked out of the league. The apple don't fall too, it's not falling too far from the tree. So, the thing that's crazy is when he got hired by the Blazers, there were multiple. There are reports saying there was multiple other NBA executives saying, "Do not hire this man; it will end bad." Fast forward, it's looking like it's going to end bad in Portland with Neil O'Shea. They were warned. The Blazers didn't anyway. We already know the Blazers are a terrible organization. They are not run well, which is why
that's the reason why their star player is miserable, wants to get out of there, but he's lying to us that he wants to stay. And you got to think about the Minnesota situation. Their GM got fired before the year too, because I think it was Gerson Rojas got fired. I guess his name. I'm not mistaken. I think that's him. He got fired because he's having an affair with one of the girls who works there, worked in the building. They have an affair, and they fired him for that. So if that's a fireable offense, my God, I mean, and it is a fireable offense. Everything else should be held to that standard. Everybody else should be let go for these kind of. I mean, you're in a position of power. The O'Shea situation is him just abusing power and sounds like he's just bullying people and creating a toxic workplace. And same with Sarver, except he's just blatantly racist, which again, no one's surprised by. We know it's in every sport. So, and again, in a sport dominated by Black culture, Black people, you can't have this. It just can't happen. You really can't. Football, you'll get away with it. Not basketball.
Last one. Steph Curry is the front runner for MVP with Paul George in a close second. Cap or facts?
Hell no. Hell no.
Yo, PG been playing good.
Hell no. Hell no. Hell
Paul George's credit on how he's been balling this season?
Yes, he's been great. Cool. Steph, that's been nice. The Steph has not been the center of the success for the Warriors. That defense is legit. They're playing well as a unit, as a team, and they're getting contributions from everybody. Poole's play matters. Poole getting better, taking a jump this year matters. Gary Payton the second coming in and being an energy and spark plug off the bench and playing good defense matters. They've gotten a lot of good play. Wiggins playing a little bit more consistently matters. Them adding Otto Porter to hit more threes matters. I'm not saying that Steph Curry's not ultimately where it starts and stops for the Warriors. He is, but MVP this year has been Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant, yo. Kevin Durant is a basketball god. Yo, he dropped 30 on 12 shots yesterday. He shot 90% from the field, something ridiculous. 30 points. He's been out of his mind. Yo, the reason why the Nets haven't fallen apart within the Kyrie drama, with everything that's going on behind the scenes, that could tear a team apart. Well, Kyrie could tear this team apart, but he hasn't because of Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's easily the MVP. Easily. I don't think it's close. He's easily the MVP. He's playing at a level I've never seen him play at before, and that's saying something because we're talking about Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's always great, but he's especially great this year. Especially when you talk about James Harden taking his time to come back off the injuries, man. Come on. James Harden's taking his time. He doesn't look the same, and it doesn't even matter. They're still 8-4. They're cruising, and it's because of Kevin Durant. He's leading that franchise. With the day the Nets gave Kevin Durant that $50 million a year contract, it all made sense. He's the ultimate deodorant, the same way LeBron has been the ultimate deodorant in the NBA for a long time. It's that's where he's at right now. He's playing at a ridiculous level. It's KD. Look at the numbers. It's KD. KD's having like 29 points a game, but he's also getting assists, also getting rebounds. Great feel for the game, not turning it over, making big shots on the stretch of games, playing great defense, getting blocks. It's KD. I'm not just saying this. I'm a Nets fan. I'm serious. It's Kevin Durant. Like for once, he's first. He deserves to be first in the conversation. Not Steph and not Paul George. No, I mean, those guys deserve it. They're in the conversation, maybe 2 and 3. But it's KD, and there's a gap. There's a gap too.
So you got KD,
yeah,
Steph, Paul George.
It's Steph. He's at 9-1, and you got to give it time. Let this thing breathe. The season's it's going to catch up to the Warriors. They're a good team, but they're not the most talented team in the West. Utah's not going to catch up and close the gap. We got to give it some time to breathe. I know we're talking about right now. Yes, KD, Steph, PG. Give it the PG, fine. PG deserves to be in the conversation. But KD, that's a bad dude. KD is different in all caps. Different. That dude is playing. Yo, have you guys watched any Nets games like at all? Chris, I know you did. You were practically forced to watch one. But come on. Like, yo, KD, I kept telling Chris at the game, I was like, yo, I leaned over to Chris. I'm telling you, you're witnessing art right now. Like, you can tell your kid you saw KD play. This dude is a genius. It's too easy. It's really too easy, yo. The way he's playing, the game's just coming to him. KD deserves MVP. I think he's going to win MVP going away. I think he is special. He is really, really, really special, yo. And he's always been special, but this year it's just different. There's a different feel to it. It looks.
But what if the Nets struggle? You think, and he still plays consistently?
I don't think they will because of him. I think that he's giving James Harden that grace period to play badly in pockets and complain about the fouls and complain about the change in rules. He's giving him that grace period, and then James Harden's going to catch up too and get to his full self, and that's will be okay. But it's because of KD. KD is the glue that keeps this whole thing together. The day the Nets signed KD was the biggest day in franchise history by a long shot. They have stabilized their franchise. The Nets are legitimately a great franchise right now, a great franchise in the NBA because they signed KD that $50 million a year contract. That was the win. Everything else is secondary. Kyrie, James, all secondary. It was about him, and this is why, because of what he's doing right now. They're 8-4 because of KD. Make no mistake about it. And they're gonna be in like second or third place in the East, maybe even first. They might finish first. Honestly, they're gonna go on a tear. I just because of how he's playing. I could like it's gonna be because of him. He's gonna have a real MVP case. I think he has the strongest one out of all these guys right now. Hell no, Steph. I'm tired of this light skin propaganda. Get out of here. I've seen Steph have like 4 points in a game this year. Talking about Steph Curry, that's propaganda. That's propaganda. Who's pushing that? For real.
If you look,
it's because he's light skinned. I swear. I swear it's because he's light skinned.
You look across the league. You look at all the different websites, the different talk shows. Steph is getting that love. 27.6 PPG, 6.6 rebounds, 6.6 assists, 1.6 steals, 38.8% on the 3-point line. Right now has the season high 50 points in a game. And you know this. And you notice our listeners that pay attention to anything about any of the awards, winning does matter. Them being 9-1 definitely factors in Steph being at the top of the list. I think you got to throw Jimmy Butler in that mix also. College football playoffs. Should we get rid of the playoffs? Should we expand it to 8 teams? Throw some numbers.
Minutes real quick. Yo, KD averaging 29.5 points, 5 assists, 8 rebounds a game. What? The percentages are even crazier, bro. The splits. All right, we can move on. KD's on some nut. It's crazy, yo. Watch the Nets game, please. Anybody who disagrees with me, watch the Nets game. Go ahead. We can move on to the next one.
College football playoffs started in 2014, 30.4 million viewers. 2018, 25.6 million viewers. Last year only had 18.9 million viewers. There has been complaints. We see teams like Cincinnati, who many believe should be one of the top 4 teams, but did not get into it. We see it often. The big powerhouse teams, no matter if they lose 1-2 games, typically will get the nod to be in the college football playoffs. Should we change up the format? Should we even get rid of it? What's your thoughts on the college football playoffs? And which 4 teams do you think make it this year?
It's simple, man. It's not competitive when it's only 4 teams, right? You don't only allowing 4 teams in, you don't allow an opportunity for a big upset. And that's especially for a team that's earned their way to be in and had a good season. Now, do I think Cincinnati right now deserves to be in one of the top 4 spots? No, I don't. Just because we haven't been blowing teams out. Yeah, we're 9-0, but like we struggled against Navy. we snuck out with a win. We struggled last week against Tulsa, snuck out with a win. It was 28-14, and they came back, and it ended up being like 28-21 or whatever the case is. Yeah, we're sitting at number 5 right now, but at the same time, like, if you allow 6 teams in, 8 teams in, you know how much more competitive that's going to be. You know, it gives an opportunity for those teams that people thought shouldn't be in, but since they have an undefeated record and that they're in, to upset one of the big teams that you think is going to win it all. Imagine if a team came in and upset Georgia, right? And now Georgia's out. Like, let that happen. I don't know why people are so afraid that to let that happen and let a new team in. No one wants to see the same teams in there year after year, the Clemsons, the Ohio States, the Alabamas. Like, we get it. We get it. Those are the big schools. But again, when teams like Cincinnati and Oklahoma are having the years that they're having and they're playing really well, you gotta make room for some competition and for a change of scenery. And I think that's the direction that it's going to head in eventually. I don't think they'll continue this 4-team only thing, but I also think teams are moving out of their conference to give themselves a better shot. Like Cincinnati, they're out. They're going to a bigger conference in 2023. Again, just to give themselves a better chance at making it in. But I think that's what it all comes down to is 4 teams doesn't make it competitive. It really doesn't.
You know what I think? I think college football is boring. I think it's boring. I think that they don't like. I think the product isn't nearly as good as the NFL. It doesn't touch it. I think that college football is only as good as the star players that are in it. I think about the times I watched the college football playoff with anticipation when Trevor Lawrence, the quarterback god, was there. Right, the guy was supposed to be the best quarterback ever. I watched then. I watched when Justin Fields at Ohio State, a guy who I was really interested and invested in. I watched when Justin Herbert was at Oregon. It's the quarterbacks that just sell this whole thing. Who is your quarterbacks this year, yo? The reason why viewership is going down is where are these stud quarterbacks? The next big, you know, when college football is going to blow up again, when Arch Manning gets to Georgia or wherever he goes, we're all gonna care again. We don't care. Do we care about Desmond Ridder? How good is Desmond Ridder for real? How good is what's the guy? The dude at Alabama now, the young guy, Bryce Young. He looks talented. How good is he actually? There's nobody that's like a generational talent at the quarterback position, and the quarterback position sells in football. You name the generational. Please tell me a generational quarterback right now that's playing at the college football level. Right now, there's a matchup: UNC versus Pitt. Kenny Pickett versus Sam Howell. Every team, half the league is at the game. Half the league has their scouts at the game to watch these guys. Neither one of those guys are generational players, I don't think. Kenny Pickett's talented. He's a very talented player. But really, where is he? Like, that's what sells. And we just don't have those guys right now in there. It was supposed to be Rattler, and he's on the bench. Maybe it's Caleb Williams. Maybe it's him. I don't know. But I just it's that's really where it comes into play. I think the viewership dropping is because the product is not better to begin with. You can watch the NFL and get better production anyways, and just watch better players. But also, if you're going to talk about what excites people, it's great quarterback play. I don't want to watch Michigan run the ball 50 times a game. I don't care.
That's a fair argument.
Unless you know what, bro? Unless you got Saquon Barkley. The only time I cared about the running game was when Saquon Barkley touches the ball. It's a movie, for real. So fine. That was fun to watch that Penn State team, even though McSorley was sucked. He wasn't good. Let's just keep it a buck. So when you have great quarterback play, then we're talking about something. Until then, there's nothing to talk about. You can change the format all you want. You want to let 2 other teams in? Who you letting in? USC has been down forever. You know, I pay attention to at Slovis over at USC. I've been watching. Like, it ain't like he's special. They just don't have the quarterback play right now. The pipeline is decreased in that level in terms of the quarterback play coming into college football, and that's why you're seeing the decrease in interest in it. I think that's what it is. And if I'm wrong, Chris, tell me if I'm wrong. I don't know. You pay attention to college football. You lock in. I don't know. But
no, I like that argument. I think it's a fair argument because you do bring up a good point. When you're talking about the Heisman favorite, right? You're talking about the Heisman favorite and Spencer Rattler at the beginning of the year. Gets benched. 4 games into the season. 4 or 5 games into the season, it's like, well, damn, now we're just watching average quarterbacks play week after week. And I think that I think that's a big part. I don't think that's the only part of why the ratings have gone down. I just think, interest has just gone down. But I do think that's a huge part of it. Is you're right. There's not a generational talent right now that we know of or that we've seen that's good enough to say, okay, that's a generational talent, like there has been in years past with Kyler Murray, right? His ability to run and make people miss and things like that.
Yeah.
Cam Newton when he was at Auburn, and what he was able to do running the ball. There's certain things that you see and you're like, okay, not a lot of people can replicate that, and we're not seeing that right now. But I really do think if they do let more teams in, no matter what teams it is, I think viewership is going to go up because people are going to want to see what those teams can do against bigger competition.
And we end off the show now. We end off every show with flag on the play. We're going to end it off with the flag on the play segment, accept or decline. First one, this came out right before the show started. Rich Paul says the 76ers are hurting Ben Simmons' mental health by trying to make him actually play. This is no longer about a trade. Accept or decline.
Accept. He's absolutely right. Daryl Morey's an idiot. He should move off him and trade him. I heard the Jaylen Brown rumors. You pull the trigger for that trade right away. Jaylen Brown's probably the best. Jaylen Brown's the best player you will get in a trade. If it's true, I don't think it's true. But if it's true and you can get Jaylen Brown in return for Ben Simmons, you do it in a heartbeat. I don't envy Ben Simmons going to Boston. He thinks is ugly. He thinks the fans are ruthless out in Philly. Go to Boston. I'm sure Ben gets by with that light skin privilege all the time. You're not getting by with that in Boston. So I don't know, man. But in all seriousness, I agree. I agree with everything Rich Paul is saying. I do. Call him a liar. Call him a liar. And terminate the relationship. Terminate the relationship completely. Stop trying to salvage this thing to get usage out of him. This is not a video game. But Daryl Morey's managing the Sixers like it's a video game. It's not a video game. You can't just bring back Ben because he's talented and think it's all going to work. But Joel Embiid generally hates Ben. Hey, my job is based in Philly, very close to Philly. I was in the office yesterday talking to some Sixers fans. So they were talking about going to the game. They all went to the Sixers game the other night. And I was like, yo, how is it watching the game without Ben Simmons? And they were like, are you kidding me? It was great. I don't miss him at all. Do you think for a second that if that guy goes back to Philly, the fans aren't going to tear him apart? Seriously, it'll cause mental damage that you can't undo if he goes back and tries to play at home again. He can't do it. You can't go back. Once he decided he didn't want to play there anymore, once he made that public, it was over. It's over. And Daryl Morey trying to hold on is nothing short of cruel. They're doing the kid a disservice now. It's not fair to Ben Simmons. I get it. He has a contract, play it out. But you can't go back to a place like Philly after quitting on them and expect the fans to react anyway. You think we talked about this in the podcast before, because Embiid went to the fans and said, oh, yo, well, we love Ben. He's our brother, and give some script that the PR wrote up for him before the show. He read off a script that it's going to work. The fans hate Ben. He can't go back. They got to trade him away. And the longer they postpone this, the uglier it'll get, because Ben's not playing for them. Ben's not playing for them. I believe that the mental health thing is a little bit of a farce. I don't believe it's totally true. I'll say that. Tone, I know you're on the same page about that, but I don't think it's a lie that this is actually hurting his mental health. He's gonna freak out. You know, how nervous would you be to go playing in front of those Philly fans after saying you don't want to play there anymore? Reading the papers, hearing the sports talk radio in Philly. Those guys are ruthless. We're talking about a fan base that were taking dumps in people's cars, eating horse manure, right? This is what we're talking about. He can't go back there. He can't go back there in these circumstances. Rich Paul is doing the right thing. Put pressure on the organization. Make them look bad. They look bad enough to me as it is, but maybe to the average fan, they don't. Make them look bad and keep applying pressure to get your client out of there, because Ben can't. I wouldn't blame Ben if he had a panic attack before the game going to play over there. They're going to be throwing batteries at dude. Like they threw batteries at Bron. And all he did was he just left Cleveland. After 8 great years. What are they going to do to him? He's not even that good. Ben's not even good like that. Like, he's okay, by the way. What are they going to do to him? They're going to be throwing cheesesteaks at him, mushrooms, all types of crazy stuff. He can't go back. He can't go back on any circumstances. I agree.
He can't go back. I agree in the aspect of him not being able to play the sport that he loves is definitely probably affecting his mental health. Sure. Not being able to do what he wants to do, practice, can't do anything. There's no progression in his trade. There's no progression in the talks. I'm sure if you just got to be at home, I'm sure that's affecting his mental. The thing is, I don't see where this ends anytime soon, just because Daryl Morey's involved. And
it's him. He's just stubborn. There's deals on the table to be made. There's deals.
Yeah, there's reports around the league too that Daryl Morey isn't that fond of Rich Paul. So there's another added element of that. A lot of GMs, executives do not.
They don't want to let LeBron's guys get their way. LeBron, they hate the fact that Bron practically has the league in a stronghold by having his dude be the strongest agent in the sport. They hate it. They hate powerful black men, just the way it works. So, and Rich Paul's got a lot of power. So, yeah, bro, like it's exactly that. And by the way, while we're talking about it, someone should check in on John Wall too, because how Houston's doing him ain't fair.
Why are you in my notes? Because the next flag on the play, John Wall is reported by Woj today, most likely will not play a game this season.
Play a game this year. Yeah.
Will not play a game this season and will be paid $44 million to stay home.
You might say because he's making 44 M's that you should just shut up and be fine with it. If I was making 44 M's, I'd be happy. Yo, let me tell y'all something. I love basketball with every fiber of my being. Before I came on the show, the gym was open for 45 minutes. I went to the gym and just shot around by myself. And seeing the ball go to the net was like the best feeling in the world. These dudes do this for a living. They're giving everything in the fiber of their being to play basketball. To not play, that is depressing. Like, I can't imagine not playing basketball for that long. Like, for real. I know he goes to practice and then he gets to kick Jalen Green's behind and take it out on him, his frustrations. You've seen the video I sent you. But still, man, like it's not sweet. This takes a real toll, bro. Like, for real. I was sitting at my desk all day at work just thinking about playing basketball. That's all I wanted to do. That's all day. That's just me. I do this for fun. And also professional, these guys love this game. At the end of the day, they're playing a kid's game for a living and they enjoy doing it. So they should check in with John Wall too, make sure he's good. He should be going to see a therapist because that what they're doing isn't fair. And it sets a bad precedent in the NBA. Jeff Van Gundy was talking about it yesterday on the broadcast when they played Detroit. He's absolutely right. That you're setting a bad precedent when you sit down a player who's making X amount of dollars because you want to go young. You can't just sit him out. The CBA has to negotiate that out of the situation. You either play him or you trade him or you release him or you buy him out. You buy him out and pay him out his contract so he can go somewhere else for free. That's what's going to happen here. No, the reason why they can't trade, they know they can't trade him. They had no intention of trading dude because they can't. No team wants to take $44 million, pay that guy $44 million a year. Why? He's not worth $44 million a year. Clearly, the contract's horrible. So it's just BS. They had no intention of trading him. They have no problem swallowing the cap because they're horrible and they don't have to pay anybody, right? They're not paying James Harden anymore. And they'll let him sit. And now because of it, he's the only one suffering in the situation. It's not fair. And the fans are suffering because they suck. Did you see that game? No one's at the game, which I'm happy about. I'm going to get a cheap ticket. But no one's at the game. Like, no one's there. So, yo, it's tough, man. I feel for John Wall. I feel for him, man. I really do.
I said at the beginning of the year, I'm like, they should give it a go. Even if you play him in limited minutes. He can help these young players so much. And granted, it's a terrible contract. But y'all knew the vibes when y'all traded for him. Y'all knew how bad the contract was. Y'all knew what y'all was signing up for. I agree with Greg. There has to be some type of negotiations in these contracts going in for the next CBA agreement. You can't just sit a player down, man. As you said, that's like somebody telling you a job that you love, that you want it to be in your whole life. And they're like, yo, hey, Chris, go ahead, go home. We'll pay you still, but don't come to work. Just stay home. Matter of fact, you could come watch us work. You could come, you could sit there, you could watch the meetings, but don't say nothing. Don't do anything. Stay home. We'll still pay you though. You can't tell me, one, that's fair, but life ain't fair. I know that, but still, that's not fair.
A job that you have to stay physically ready for. Exactly. It ain't just about like, oh, you can go home and chill. Like, nah, he still has to train every day like he's about to play because, again, like you said, they could trade for him or trade him, whatever the case is. He's going to have to be physically ready. So that's where it becomes, depressing on his end, especially feel like he probably feels like really well, right? You know, he's battled injuries in the past, but in terms of like his physical ability and how he feels right now, he probably feels like, oh, I'm in the best shape I'm in my life because like he hasn't played. So now to be, you know, training and getting ready and not being able to showcase everything that you've done in the off season, like Greg said, that's depressing.
And we looking at two different situations. John Wall has not approached this the same way that Ben Simmons or James Harden has approached it. For all we know, and all accounts, for at least from what we're seeing, the dude is handling like a professional. I don't think the Houston Rockets are being professional about their handling the situation with John Wall. They're not giving the same professional courtesy back. The man is not complaining. The man is not blowing up. He's not coming to practice saying y'all soft as tissue. He ain't pulled a Jimmy Butler thing. This ain't right how they doing John Wall. Not saying John Wall is an elite player.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think John Wall has the leash to do that in this situation.
He's not an elite player, but the thing is,
he's a good player.
He can help out a team. And you mentioned the buyout thing, and people keep saying that. Nah, shout out to John Wall. Hey, I know it's depressing, but when you got a chance to make that type of money in your life, especially at this point in his career, he's never making that again. Don't do the buyout. Don't do the buyout. That's generational changing money right there. 44 mil. Nah, get every single dime of that. We saw it's different because, you know, we don't see John Wall as an elite player because nobody said nothing like that with CP3. CP3 got every dime of that bag. John Wall get every dime of that bag. You're never going to make money like that again in your life.
And that's probably why we don't hear him, right? That's probably the exact reason why we don't hear him is that's probably his mindset. I'm going to get this money regardless. But whether you want to play me or not, you're still changing my life at the end of the day.
Facts. Last one before we end the show. Little light one, little entertainment, little fun one, just to hear y'all viewpoints on this one. Princess Cruises will have a 111-day cruise set to sail in January 2024. The goal is it's going to reach 51 locations across 27 countries. Y'all going on it? Would y'all go on this cruise?
Who got the vacation time for all that? That's what it comes down to, right? I mean, first of all, I ain't trying to be stuck on a boat for that long. And it depends where the 51 locations are. It sounds cool, but that's a long time. What, a little over 4 months of straight traveling. But I mean, hey, if you're a teacher and you got summers off and you take, you know, a month vacation, whatever the case is, but that's a little excessive. I feel like only rich white people will be able to do that.
I'm just not doing it. Under any circumstances, it doesn't sound like fun at all. Being at sea for that long, count me out. I'm not doing that.
$23K a person, $66K is starting off to get suites. So
yeah, right. Like
it's expensive, but
it's not even worth the money.
I think it's interesting that they even come up with an idea like this. I don't know. I be saying this all the time. We gonna close the show out, man. But I be saying this all the time. When you look at these meetings, when you look at these business deals done, you look at some of these musicians and the music that they put out, you look at some of these commercials, I really be wondering who is in these business meetings that be like, yo, this is a good idea. I really wonder who's in the business meetings that be like, yo, that's the commercial right there. Who is green lighting this stuff? We have people in these business rooms just accepting nonsense across all businesses, music, sports, entertainment, bruh.
Also, you're trying to sell me on going to 51 different countries to experience 51 different types of racism. I'm straight. I experienced enough here. I ain't about to go to Slovenia and have them be racist to me over there, and then have to go to Russia and have them be racist to me over there. I'm good. I'll just settle for plain old American racism. Thank you.
Yo, if you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready. Bench Mob, ET, we out. Peace.
Peace.
Greg wanted to